Hey, welcome to today's webinar, everyone. This will be recorded and posted up on our YouTube channel in approximately 2 to 3 days. My name is Sean Dixon. I'm the Director of AV Programs here at ADI. I manage the AV Elite program. I want to thank you all for your participation and also for joining today's webinar. For the last 7 years, dealers have enjoyed some of the many benefits of the AV Elite program, and we're continually looking for ways to improve it. So your feedback is certainly welcome. Keep an eye out on your monthly progress reports against goal, as we want to see all of you earning a rebate by the end of the year. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type them into the Q&A box and we'll answer them throughout the presentation, if not at the end. And with that, allow me to introduce today's vendors. From Bose Professional, we have John Brunner and Dave Curran joining us. They'll take the floor in just a moment, and then following up after them will be Furman. We've got Rob Harris, Wade Bussey, and Mauricio Velasco joining us from Furman. So appreciate all of our panelists and presenters today. So first up, as I mentioned, will be Bose, followed by Furman. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to Mr. John Brunner, and you can take it away and share your screen.
Thanks, Sean. Can you guys see the presentation?
Not yet.
Currently not seeing it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on there. Okay, how about now?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so for the Bose portion of this, just some quick introductions. My name is John Brunner. I manage our distributors in the Americas, and we also have Dave Curran, who's the ADI account manager online with us. So we both have had a long tenure with ADI, enjoy working with them. So we're going to give you guys an update on some key new products, really two categories. We're going to start with Bose Work, which is a new line of products for the UC space, so for conference rooms, huddle spaces, personal business use, and then we're going to transition over to our new Free Space and Design Max speakers. So the Bose Work solutions, we're going to give you a high-level overview. I'll share with you which products are available and which products are coming soon, but we'll go ahead and dive in. So Bose Work. Now I'm having problems. The slide is frozen. So, okay, there we go. So I'm going to go past this just essentially to what Bose Work is. Essentially, if you think about what work used to be back in the days of, your parents, it was you either went to an office or a factory somewhere, and now work is everywhere. And so ultimately, the devices that help us work more effectively have to really apply anything from your home to the office to an airport to literally driving in a car. And so as we've looked at this channel of business, we hope to have solutions for each of those. I want to jump into a couple key slides here. So if you see me run past, this is just to keep us on time. But as we look at work in terms of the pyramid of where work is done, we really saw three different areas. One is integrated conference spaces, which is the classic conference space, which has an integrated system, small meeting rooms such as huddle rooms or huddle booths, and then desktop and mobile, which is more personal workspace. So we're going to cover what's available in each one. So available now is our DSP line for integrated conference rooms. Coming soon is going to be the video bar, and the UC700 is available as well. So let's walk through each of those. So this is what we mean by integrated rooms. This is going to be a more serious conference space where the system is literally integrated into that room. It's usually got some kind of touch control. And so what we have put together for that room is something called the ES1 solution. The ES1 combines both Bose products and Sennheiser products. These are two very iconic, well-trusted names in the audio field. And this is a product bundle. We don't, for example, ship the Sennheiser mic, and Sennheiser doesn't ship the Bose products. But within your system, there is an ES1 bundle which pulls all of these solutions. Essentially, the mic comes from Sennheiser. The audio components come from Bose. And the other important thing to know about this is the ES1 solution is Microsoft Teams certified, Zoom certified, and Google Meet certified as well. So for your customers who are wanting a system that works with those different platforms, the ES1 is certified to connect with and work with those things seamlessly. So talking just a little bit about individual components here, the TCC2 Team Connect mic is a dynamic beam forming microphone. That X pattern has several different capsule mics in there, and as somebody talks in the room, it does pick up where that speaker is and dynamically forms a beam to catch that person speaking. So it is dynamic. It's real-time tracking. And when you install this, you really don't have to set it up like you do some of the competitors where you're creating lots of zones. This is the nice thing about this. Again, it's dynamic and it does track live to where the person is in the room. As far as deployment, there is a flush mounted solution. It can be suspended on an open ceiling or mounted to a hard surface like you see there. And some of the other parts of this, the speaker, this features one of our most unique speakers, which is the Edge Max Premium loudspeaker. This is going to be the main speaker in the system. The way Edge Max works is that unlike a traditional ceiling speaker, which directs the sound directly down to the floor, like you see in that top example, in the bottom example, Edge Max basically fires on a 75-degree down angle. So what's really unique about this is that Edge Max can be located over the monitor. And as it fires 75 degrees down, it's able to cover that room completely with one speaker. But here's the other benefit. Because it's located over the television, you are localizing the voice to the monitor. So in fact, it creates a much better experience because the speaker sounds like they're coming from the monitor as opposed to over your head. And the final piece of that is because it's not in the ceiling, it's not interfering with that microphone. So Edge Max is really unique in that it's fewer speakers to cover the same area, localizes onto the monitor, and just really cleans things up quite a bit. So as you were to deploy this, essentially you'd have a single Edge Max covering up to about 14 feet. If you had a longer conference room, let's say this was 30 feet deep, you would add 2 more Edge Max on the side here as fill speakers, and that would enable you to create coverage to the rear of the room. But as you set it up, this is basically tuned loud to play louder than the fill speakers, so you'd still have good voice localization there. Also, as part of this, we have our conferencing EXP processor. So this has several presets inside so that when you deploy this into a room, you're just selecting the Team Connect 2 microphone, you're selecting one Edge Max. So all of these presets make setup very, very easy. There's extremely limited programming here. So ultimately, these are usually very sophisticated rooms, but this sets up much faster than a traditional ESP because of the presets that are built in. This is a diagram basically just showing you exactly how all these pieces connect together. You've got the Edge Max with a speaker wire to the Bose PowerSpace 2600A amplifier, amp link from the processor to the amp, and then this is just connected to a network switch along with the speaker. So you have a compute device, a room display, a camera. So again, this is much more of an installed system. But if you look at it this way, if somebody's interested in this type of system, you're able to pull a lot of other components into that. Or if somebody's asking you about, a display, camera, network switch, you might ask them about the audio system as well. But ultimately, this is the end result. You have a very clean ceiling, a very clean room, and for an installed type of system, it's really incredibly effective. So moving on, just to keep us on pace here, what about for small meeting rooms or just more, less technology-centric meeting rooms? So we're introducing the Bose VB1 video bar. So this will be shipping, we expect sometime in December. So this is a video bar, so it has a built-in camera and audio playback and microphones. It's actually an extremely compact form factor compared to many other things in the products of its type in the business. And it's also got a very clean aesthetic with the camera literally built into the body of the bar instead of on top. So this is a traditional deployment where you'd have, for example, a video bar and a microphone on the table to pick up the back end of the room. Anytime you have a room this size, you usually would have to use a microphone on the table, which adds cost and complexity. The nice thing about the VB1 is that with its dynamic tracking microphones, it can pick up into the room and tracks people live. So you eliminate the complexity of a table mic. It's actually much more dynamic in terms of tracking folks as they move about the room and they change their position. So it's actually a cleaner installation and a much more effective solution. You can also set up exclusion zones. So this is an example of the app. If you want to set up an area where you don't want the microphone to pick up, you can move these around, but that helps improve the far end intelligibility. So people who are not in that room are not hearing a lot of extra noise on the far end. For a huddle space like this, you can actually set up an exclusion zone outside of this so that it doesn't pick up folks as they go outside. And so ultimately, this has dynamic tracking. It has auto framing as well on the camera, so it follows people around. You don't need to ride the remote. So it's a super nice bar. We've had a lot of great feedback on it for the people who have been actively beta testing that with us. And it's one cable to the bar as well. So you simply walk in with your computer device, USB cable to the bar, and away you go. So I'm going to keep moving here just because I want to give Dave some time for the speakers. The third item that we are introducing with Bose Work is the 700 UC headphones. So these are based on our 700 consumer series headphones, but they are designed for business use. So this is going to be a system involving a headphone and a dongle, and it's $449 MAP priced. Essentially, what's unique about this is you have great latest generation noise cancellation, but here's the key: it's game-changing voice pickup. So as you know, if you've been in an airport, a coffee shop, driving, on a car, taking a train somewhere, and you're on a meeting, you often have to ride mute because you've got headsets on or you got a microphone and you don't want to introduce that noise. With this, you have the benefit of noise cancellation and a beamforming mic. So it doesn't have a boom. It actually has beamforming so that it's able to pick up your voice, but as it's picking up your voice, it's canceling out the extra noise. So the people on the far end really just hear your voice. They don't hear the environment you're in, and it's very effective. As well, it is certified for Microsoft Teams, Google, and Zoom. And so ultimately, I know I'm going fast here, we have different solutions from an integrated meeting room to small rooms where you deploy a bar and open office spaces where folks who are always on the go. So again, to summarize, the ES1 is shipping now. We expect the video bar before the end of the year, and the headsets are literally shipping out of our warehouse today. So expect those to be available, within the next week. And so with that, that is just a high-level overview of Bose Work. Dave, I'll turn this over to you if you've got your presentation going.
Thanks a lot, John. Okay, can you see that? Free space DS loudspeakers. Okay, super. Thanks a lot, John. I apologize for the technical delay, but again, my name is Dave Karn. I am distribution account manager here at Bose Pro, handling ADI. And if you're at all familiar with Bose Professional, then you're familiar with the Free Space DS line. As you can see, the DS16 has been around for 18 years, and it is a beloved line of speakers. But it was time for us to make an upgrade. About that. There's a lot to this. I'm going to bomb through this presentation really quickly, but please know that we've created some sales enablement tools to help you compare these speakers. So if you have an opportunity, we can put them side by side. I've created a map to directly tell you what's gone EOL, what's replacing what, and we can share this with you after the presentation for sure. Okay, continuing the legacy. So here is the FreeSpace FS. 5 new models that are direct replacements for the DS. They come in a variety of flavors, a classic kind of appearance. The FS2 models have a little bit smaller footprint, and I'm happy to say that we have a dedicated pendant model now, which is pretty exciting. You'll also notice the FS4 CE. It's our first ceiling mount environmental, so this ceiling mount can go outside. So I thought that was a pretty important step for us. Jumping up to its big brother, launched in late 2019, is the Design Max line of loudspeakers. So think here more of a premium sound, where the FS is a quality speaker at a more competitive price. Design Max has 12 models too, with really premium sound and aesthetics as the main kind of focus there. Again, think elegant form factor, design, removable bezels and grills, paintable. We wanted to give you a variety of solutions and think design and premium quality with Design Max. On the surface mount Design Max loudspeakers, the 3-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch are IP55 rated for outdoor use, so they can handle humidity, fog, salt air, rain, snow, and keep delivering premium audio. Here's a video on how easy it is to install the Design Max speakers. So here's a surface mount. So just mount the bracket to the wall, attach the Euro plug connector, connect, mount it onto the quick mount mounting system. Now this is only available on Design Max, not on FS, but this is a really handy feature for the tech up on the ladder to make the adjustment, cover with the magnetic grill cover, and done. Similarly with the ceiling mount, cut the hole, drop your cable, and then another feature of Design Max are these quick hold mounting brackets. So just pop them where they need to be, zip it up, connect the Euro clip, magnetic grill cover, and done. Again, these are unique to Design Max, but super easy installation. All of the Design Max speakers come in plenum rated backhands. The tile bridges are in the box with these, which is super. So although it's a premium product, it becomes more competitive in price where the tile bridge is included in the box. You'll also notice there's the DM2C-LP, which is a low profile speaker. So you notice the image on the right, that is an HVAC duct. So in those cases where you have a real tight installation, this is a real low profile speaker that can squeeze into space. A couple of common features shared between the FS and Design Max, since I've been kind of jumping back and forth. They both feature the Euro block connector, so 6-pin. They both have Bose logos that are removable and don't leave a hole in the grill. And additionally, they both have tap settings on the front. So simple adjustments. So once you think about being up on the ladder, the tech's climbed up there, once it's installed, you make your tap setting adjustment on the front. So you just pop off the grill and make your adjustment. Again, a real simple and excellent feature. So to get right to it, why use FreeSpace FX and why use Design Max loudspeaker? So you think FreeSpace for those more competitive, when price points may be more competitive, still a high quality loudspeaker, but more price competitive. Design Max, when premium sound quality, premium aesthetics are required, that's when we typically will look to the Design Max loudspeakers, where 12 models there, more variety, 5 models in the FS. And then that actually brings me to the end of the speakers, and I apologize for the issue, technical issue early on, but John already kind of went through the work portion, so I'm going to skip through this.
Yeah, as Dave is doing that, just to kind of reinforce a couple things. So FreeSpace and Design Max are shipping now, have been for a while. So you might have people coming in asking for our FreeSpace DS. That is a discontinued line. And again, you can step them up to either a Design Max for premium sound, premium aesthetics, easier installation, or if they're looking for something more affordable or more on a budget, that is where FS fits. And all of our amplifiers as well have been updated with the EQ curves to match either the FreeSpace or Design Max. So those on the back end side have been updated also. And Dave, I think you've got the map up here.
Yep. Just to wrap up, here is our territory sales manager map, recently updated. And I believe
Great. That's good information to have. Dave and John, thanks for presenting on the first half of the hour. Hopefully everybody got something out of the Bose portion of the of today's webinar. Anything else you needed to cover?
No, I think we're good. Thank you, Sean.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Thank you both for presenting. While Furman is getting set up, we will get them teed up here, and they'll be next presenter up. So bear with us just a moment. Again, type your questions if you have any into the Q&A box. We'll address those throughout the presentation.
Rock and roll.
Nice.
I don't know if y'all are ready for me, but I'm ready for you.
We're ready.
Awesome. How's it going, everybody out there? My name is Rob Harris. I am the sales and technical trainer for the Furman brand, as well as the Panamax and Blue Bolt brands. I've been with the company with the Furman brand for over 18 years, with Panamax for 14 years, and Panamax was owned by Nortec 14 years ago, so I've been with Nortec for 14 years altogether. Throughout that time, I've been through every portion of things from manufacturing to, I was the head of tech support for 12 years, and then I'm also the artist relations manager for the Furman brand, which means I get to babysit a lot of kids on tour and make sure that all their equipment is getting the proper life's blood that they need. And with that, I won't bore you with a bunch of that. Let's move on and check out the presentation I have for you here as I begin to share my screen. All right. So that little history on Furman. Furman was founded in 1975 by Jim Furman. In the beginning, he was a sound engineer for the Grateful Dead. So if you're familiar with that wall of sound and you know, that big massive thing that they used to have to haul around, he used to have to make that whole thing work. And then he also used to do all the live recordings. So if you're familiar with any of the Grateful Dead live recording stuff, that was him schlumping 2-inch tape in order to gather and capture those recordings at that point in time. Jim got kind of tired of the road, decided to start his own company. And within that, his first products were signal processing stuff for pro musicians. Originally started out with probably the most popular signal processing device from us would have been our PQ3, which was a 3-band parametric equalizer that you can sweep and do all kinds of fun stuff with. Then went to PQ4. Then we had a bunch of other cool stuff, starting with crossovers and headphone distribution, all kinds of neat stuff. And with that, the products became so popular from the Grateful Dead that they spread the word. And then next thing you know, pretty much everybody in the San Francisco Bay Area was utilizing it. And then anybody that came through there on tour ended up picking up the products. And so thus started the big portion of Furman. In 1983, we decided to start focusing on our power products. That was when what was known as the PL8 was born, which is our original 8-outlet power light module power conditioner. And it became so popular that throughout the years, we've kept increasing technologies as the demand for getting rid of such noise and protecting everything throughout the years was there. And within that, we're now the #1 power brand management in the pro audio video industry. and very proud to say that. It's really cool to be part of that legacy altogether. Oh, and I wanted to say thanks so much, guys, Bose, for that presentation. It was awesome. I learned some stuff. It's been a little while since I've been in touch with you. Bose has had a relationship with Furman throughout the years. I know that Bose has personally used some of our power conditioners at points in times. So it's really cool to be back in contact and checking out the really cool stuff you guys are doing. So kudos for you guys. Thank you. So with that, Furman is the #1 choice in the professional world. It's used throughout every recording studio you could think of, live sound, touring, television, and radio broadcast and film. And of course, we're not mentioning, you know, live sound in churches and everything else that you could think of. With me, with the artist relations end, and throughout that 18 years, here's just a drop in the bucket of some of the artists that have relied on us and decided to pair up with us and spread the good word. And these are all great names, as you can see, but I have to present the hottest band in the world. Kiss is probably my #1 favorite as far as a, you know, folks to visit. So there's my smiling face with my, my son very excited on the side, and my wife in the center, probably going, you guys are idiots. But anyway, I digress. So with that, let's talk about what causes power problems. So within that, if you think about our infrastructure, we have these aging power lines that have existed for over 100 years, and we're not doing anything to change them anytime soon. Power companies, you know, can't physically absorb the amount of cost that it would take to do that. So we're essentially just band-aiding the system, which means that there's a lot of aging stuff that's happening that's causing lots of noise and also surge and spike stuff. And then since the inception of the personal computer back in the 1980s, we brought in switching power supplies. Well, that introduced a whole new noise and spike and surge protection problem that came on the line. Now, if you think of that times every smart TV that you have, everything with a processor just inside of a building that you're in, well, you can think of just what that's causing. And then times that by your neighboring industrial grid or even residential grid as shown here. Now that's just combating and throwing more stuff on the line as well. And then you have to think inside the building as well, because really about 65% of your spikes and surges happen with inside the building as well as the noise that's in there. So you're combating not only what's coming in from the outside, but what's coming in from the inside. And then of course, the worst of all, the most unpredictable, nature. Yes, that will cause the biggest electrical problem. You know, lightning's very strong and resilient, and it's going to go to the path of least resistance, and therefore that's why you want to have some power protection stuff on your line. Now with that, we're going to go over just surges and spikes today. You can think of these as those fast catastrophic hits that are like a bullet. Also, every time you see a light dim somewhere, that's a small induction, but still just a smaller bullet, say a 22, if we're talking, you know, gauge bullets here. With that, we're also going to talk about AC line noise, what's taking away the, you know, basically the performance of your equipment and being able to get the best audio and video. We're also going to talk about brownouts or undervoltages, which cause your components to work harder and cook. Or those swells and overvoltages, kind of the same thing. Those components will still try to dissipate the heat from the high voltages and cause things to cook. And with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of power management, why you want power management. Well, the first thing is performance. You want that equipment that you're purchasing or that you're installing for your client to work at optimum performance. So you got this reliability thing going on, and you're not going to get calls that things have broke down at some point. That also works into the protection aspect, of course. You want to protect everything that's on there and protect that investment for your client. And that's a great way to present that to them. It's also a safeguard for their equipment to have it last longer, which would create reliability for everything. So if you get rid of all those little small spikes and surges and the big stuff, that's going to give you reliability overall for everything. So Furman technologies we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about our SMP series multi-stage protection. We're going to talk about our EVS, extreme voltage shutdown. So SMP is for those bullets. EVS is for those long, higher voltages or lower voltages. As they come in, they're either a swell or a brownout that's going to be long and consistent. And then we're going to talk about linear filtration, getting rid of that noise floor. Then we're going to go into our power factor technology exclusive to Furman, where we're going to talk about lowering the line impedance and also creating punchy lows and brilliant highs for your system and to get the most out of there, which will be a part of what we also call clear tone technology that's involved in that same product. So a little heads up on surge protection in itself. You have sacrificial surge protection, which is not a bad thing. Your simple plastic power strip is the worst way to go with that because they have high let-through voltages and whatnot. But with that, you know, sacrificial means just that. It's going to sacrifice itself if something's coming down the line and hopefully take the bullet. Now, if the voltages are too high before those MOVs react, their metal oxide varistors, then it's not going to be able to dissipate that energy properly. It's going to have a lot of let-through voltage, and you're going to end up damaging your equipment anyway. And MOVs, they degrade over time. And so, you know, got maybe a 3 to 5 year lifespan with anything that's like that. Versus Furman's SMP technology. Now, this is a non-sacrificial design. This will absorb the surges without getting to the equipment or compromising the protection components in the circuit. This thing can literally dissipate up to 3,000 amp, 6,000 volt hits as fast as a nanosecond, take away that energy without the equipment plugged into it, ever seen it, or the Furman going down in the process. Now, I was the head of tech support for 12 years. I worked directly with tech support still exclusively because I have 18 years of knowledge, and that's too hard to cram into people's brains. And with that, I can tell you, throughout the inception of this circuit 14 years ago, we've shipped over 1 million units, and there's been no surge-related failures within that 14 years and 1 million units worldwide. So tough stuff. So we're going to take a look at our EVS, our extreme voltage shutdown. I got a little video for you here. I'm going to be the commentator for this, but it's going to show you why you don't want to use that plastic power strip. Because if you think it's okay to plug into a typical surge strip, we're going to show you why you don't want to. Now, what we have here is a test where we have typical surge strip, an overvoltage box takes 120 volts and turns into 200 volts if you have a step-up transformer, and then our PL8C with EVS technology. We're going to turn that on. We get 120 volts, and my pal there is going to press the red button. That turns 120 into 200. You'll see the Furman turned off immediately. But the surge strip over here, immediately the MOVs are blown. And what happens after the MOVs are blown is it has let-through voltage. So that's your equipment sitting there and just cooking. And in the worst case scenario, it's just cooking the insulation off the wires. It's getting to that ABS fire retardant plastic. But guess what? It's not fireproof by any means. And you'll see right about there. Boom. Worst case scenario, but it can happen. Now the Furman, look at that. Turn it off and back on. You're back up and running. Nothing's been compromised with the equipment plugged into the Furman, and the Furman itself is good to go as well. So it protects itself and everything afterwards. Ooh, and I probably wouldn't want to be that strip right there by any means. We're going to let this go through. Shows a nice little cooking of that, and it's always fun to watch. And absolutely, Furman, why would you trust anything less? Okay. We're going to go into now our linear filtration technology. So this is going to remove that low-level noise floor to unmask the detail in your audio and video. So this is our noise filtration properties that we have. And what we're looking at here is just a representation of this blue line represents AC line noise. So that's the noise coming in, that EMI and RFI on the line. And then this green line here is just representing a typical AC filter. If you think of this from left to right, this is subwoofer frequencies going through the audio bandwidth, and then out through high def video if this kept going, because this stops at 20K in the audio bandwidth. But this looks like a roller coaster. That green line keeps going up and down. So the bummer about that is it's not doing anything in the sub frequencies to get rid of that noise. So it's all being masked off. Actually, it adds some noise in 2K, and then it continues on to create a roller coaster, so you don't know what you're getting as far as filtration goes. But when you come in with lift, there's that same line for noise floor, but over here, this green line, where lift has been applied, you're reducing that noise floor minus 10 dB just in the subwoofer range. And as the frequencies get higher, the noise floor gets lower, meaning that you're sweeping out that noise that can be sitting there, the buzz, pops, and clicks. And we're getting rid of that noise floor so it's no longer muddling with your audio and video. And it's not just the line noise, you know, you don't really, it's not just the stuff you hear, it's the stuff that you're missing because it's being masked off at lower levels. As you can see here by this representation, you know, we're looking at, you know, manifests raising the noise floor by limiting the dynamics range and masking and low-level content. Well, that very content is why we pay more for better equipment. So with that, you'll see the noise that's here. You're missing, so you're getting all the fundamentals, all the louder stuff, but as far as the ambience and the harmonics, you're missing all that. So by getting some nice filtration on there, you're going to allow all those frequencies to be freed up, so you get the full detail in your audio and your video as well. And to show you a representation, we have a little guy here. This is called our PLM 300. It's a power line meter. Basically, it measures the noise on the line via millivolts. And with this, we just did a simple plug into the wall, and we had about 704 millivolts there. And there's a little audible speaker here that would be going, letting you know what that noise is. And basically, we went ahead and stuck in our AC215A, which has our lift filtration. And believe it or not, the SMP portion of things that does surge suppression actually helps with the noise as well. They work in conjunction with each other. And within that, we've lowered that 704 millivolts down to about 18 millivolts. Now, what does that equate to as far as percentage? You're now 97% reduction in the noise floor altogether. And that's just with lift filtration. Now let's move on. We're going to go to our power factor technology. Now this technology, it drastically lowers the line impedance to your power-hungry audio and video equipment as well. This is the most dramatic filter available, and it's not just for amps like it says here. This works in the video frequencies as well, very well. And with this, you're going to gain punchy lows and brilliant highs where they're not harsh on the highs. So you're going to get really good frequency response from whatever amplification you're plugging in. Now, this is where this is a problem solver. So if you've ever heard of current compression, what happens there is basically your current is nice as it comes in off the pole to the meter on the wall, and then as it gets to the outlet, sure, you've got longer wires, so you have more impedance and resistance there, so you're losing a bit of the amount of the current that can be provided. And when you first plug in something, maybe a single amplifier by itself, it does okay. It's sitting there like this subwoofer here. It's able to go ahead and produce its sub frequencies. But when you start kicking in everything, now this amplifier with your left and right is suffering, and now that causes the sub to suffer as well. So you're basically, they're competing with one another for current. And so they're fighting and kind of choking each other out. Now, with our Furman power factor technology, that nice, lovely current that's coming in, when it's fed to the Furman here, with our power factor technology, this nice current reserve that's in there, that allows that current to be essentially buffered in a way. You could think of it as a buffering. And what happens there is when everything's firing, nobody's fighting one another for current. They all get the current that they need, and everybody can breathe easy. And by doing that, you end up with super clear and precise audio and video. And just to show you how this noise reduction came out when we did a test, we had about 720 millivolts coming out. Went ahead and applied our power factor, which includes clear tone technology. So that same, we use that as another, basically, there's another technology, but it's based off that same circuit. It's utilizing the same thing to lower the noise floor more. And now what we've done, we took 720 millivolts down to 0.6. What that equates to is basically 100% noise reduction in all EMI and RFI. So there's nothing getting through. You're getting the cleanest power to your equipment at that point in time. So that power factor with clear tone technology, SMP and lift, working in conjunction with each other, you're not getting any noise past that thing as far as EMI and RFI goes. So with that, quick overview on the products. We have our Merit series. These are sacrificial devices. They are MOV protected, but they're a steel chassis. They're designed well. They'll last you a long time. Think about 3 to 5 years. You're going to want to swap these things out. Now, if you ever see this Protection OK LED go out, it's time to swap it because it's basically either not going to be functioning or there could be a possibility of pass-through afterwards. So with that, you would want to swap the Merit series out. That's why they're at a lower price point, but their clamping voltages are lower than the other things on the industry, out in the industry. So we clamp the voltage a lot lower at those small spikes and surges, so you don't have this lead-through voltage slowly eating away at your equipment. Now, when we step over to our Parastation and our AC215A, this is the smallest box that we put our SMP, lift, and EVS technology into. This is a great package. It comes in 10 amps. It's got 2 outlets. It's going to give you that pro level protection. And then we have our power station here, series here, the PST8 shown here. Actually, this is the PST8D. PST8 or PST8D, those are the 2 strip formats where that SMP, lift, and EVS is going to be involved. So this is a pro level power conditioner in a strip format. So keep that in mind. You can get into those pro level power conditioners in a compact format or in a strip format. And those are the lowest price points that you would be able to come into those products with. Now, of course, there's our classic series that has our SMP, lift, and EVS technologies as well. And there's 15 and 20 amp versions. And basically it's pull out lights versus a voltmeter on the front versus a volt amp meter on the front. So PL8C, no meter, PL plus C, ladder style LED meter, and then PL plus DMC, digital meter that shows you both voltage and current. Prestige series, this is where the power factor series comes into. We also have an isolation transformer, which we're not going over in this one, and also our voltage regulation stuff that comes into play here. But I wanted to show you that focus on the power factor unit here. So the P1800 PFR, this is endorsed by many artists. I just pulled up Mr. Steve Vai. Maybe some of you might be familiar with him and maybe not. Excellent guitar player and very much a tone nut. He absolutely endorses this product because it does what it does and it does what we say. And he's noticed the difference as he put it into his system. So if you want to lower that noise floor altogether and allow those amplifiers to breathe easy, that P1800 PFR is the way to go. We also have power sequencing. So if you're doing a large setup and you need to sequence on power inside of maybe a church or a venue of some sort, we have our Merit Series stuff. And then we have our Classic Series. So I didn't mention warranty. So Merit Series is 3 years on the warranty. Classic Series is 5 years on the warranty. One really cool part, CN1800S and 2400S and the Contractor Series, those are 15-year warranty products. And they have SMP, lift, and EVS, but they're also a complete solution for sequencing on and off a system. You can literally daisy chain up to 50 of these devices together, mix and match them however you want, and they'll fire up and down in accordance with the way you have them wired. And you can set individual timings for them all, and you can fire everything up literally by just one key. And these CN15 and 20 MPs come into play as well. So literally 1,000 feet apart, unshielded twisted pair wiring, 24 gauge, and you literally can wire 50 of those up together and fire the entire system up and down via one key switch, which you can use these in remote areas or the key switch on the front of the unit, or you can set it up, there's a momentary button on the unit as well. And, you know, that's cool stuff to talk about. As I go further here, trying to jam through some more stuff, our SS6B and SS6, these are a sacrificial device, but they still have better than others. Basically, their let-through voltages and their filtration properties are better than the graphs that we'd shown you there. And these come with a 15-foot cord. So if you're doing something where you need to put, you know, you just want at least to get some protection and filtration in one area, these are great go-to products. Now, when we step over the SS6B Pro, same looking package, 15-foot cord, but now we put EVS in here, so that extreme voltage shutdown. So what that's going to do is if you have an EVS condition, it's going to kick off to make sure the equipment's not cooking and your Furman isn't cooking. So stepping up to that, that's probably where I would be at if you can swing your customers up to it if they have the budget for it. The plug lock, just a simple way to distribute your DC wall warts, as they are as in the slang term. No protection or filtration. You plug that into a conditioner, and now you have your wall warts or DC power supplies distributed. Then we have our ACX25, 25-foot extension cord. What's different about this? Well, it's made by us, a little tougher, but it's also black in color. So as far as showing up on stage, it's not going to be an eyesore like an orange cable. There's also our Vertex strips. So these are meant for, being plugged into a conditioner and gives you more power distribution in the back of the rack. They come in 8, 12, and 16 outlet versions. And you can see we did a fun little thing here with just an AC215A and a couple of Vertex strips and created a simple power distribution piece in the rack without absorbing a rack space. And then we also have our accessories here. So 3-foot, 6-foot, 10-foot, IEC cables. And then if you had a wall wart that you need to plug into a power conditioner, but you didn't want to absorb an outlet that's next to it, you got this little 1-foot extension. And then we have 1-foot IECs as well. So power, every job, every time. Why? Well, it's your reputation on the line. You want to make sure that you're protecting and filtering everything to your client. And not only is it going to protect against those catastrophic things, but it's going to give them longevity for their equipment, because it's not going to get beat up by the small stuff. Now, why buy Furman? Well, mission critical surge suppression, the show must go on. That's that SMP. Anytime you see that badge for SMP, that's going to include EVS and lift as well. Keep that in mind, pro level. It's the best filters in the business. We have the largest breadth of technologies in power management, and it's what the pros use. So literally, I've had Aerosmith and Def Leppard and pretty much any band you can think of that tours outside of the US, all over the world, with that surge suppression in there. Ever-changing environments every day, and we have yet to see one unit ever go down for a catastrophic failure for not only fixed installations, but for touring, where you have an ever-changing environment every night. So I'd say it's pretty much, it's, you know, as close as to bulletproof as you're ever going to get. So with that, stay tuned. There'll be more deeper dive Pro AV trainings, I'm sure, as our friends here at ADI are going to probably have us back for some fun, I hope. So keep that in mind. We've got into barely any of the breadth of the line. There's so much more that I'd love to share with you, and we'll talk about doing some more fun later. And with that, let's see, here's my contact info. If you guys have any questions at all, obviously contact your folks back at ADI, but also you can reach out to me as well, and we'll work with ADI to make sure that you get the questions answered before you purchase and any support that you need after that. I've been around for 18 years. Nobody's kicking me out of the door yet, as far as I know. Not expecting so, but I always knock on wood. Anyway, I'm here for you. Also, this is the Furman customer support service line. So this is where you'll find your tech support for Furman, Panamax, and Blue Bolt stuff. Keep that in mind. And also, since this is in a recording, you guys will have this for later on, and I'm sure they'd be glad, the folks at ADI would be glad to send that out to you. And then with this is our map for everybody that's in your regions as far as our reps, our internal reps, or RSMs as we like to call them, regional sales manager kids. And that'll be coming out in an email as well. And with that, that's me in a nutshell, kids. I hope you got something out of that, and my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Great presentation, Rob. Lots of information. Surprised you got through all that as quick as you did, but really good information. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being on the call. To all of our presenters and vendors from Bose Pro and Furman. A couple of things we'll wrap up with, just in case anyone isn't aware. You may or may not know, we have a North American sales team that's dedicated to the Pro AV category here at ADI. So including a technical sales engineer. So I believe that comprises between the inside and the outside team, about 18 or so folks here at ADI. Contact us anytime you have a project, a commercial AV project that you need help with. We can also help you streamline your purchasing. You can feel free to drop an email to either avelite@adiglobal.com, and we can certainly connect you with that team and the person in your area. Or you could also drop an email to proav@adiglobal.com. Something else we do, and we've done for many, many years, is offer project registration with many of our vendors. And those who do offer it, we pass through 100% of the cost savings. So when you have those larger projects coming up, get them registered early, get them registered often, and it locks in a lot of cases, better pricing. So you'll have a competitive edge. So not all vendors offer it, but many do. So we can certainly help you with that when the need arises. And then lastly, I just want to wrap up. For more than 25 years, ADI has offered system design services and pre-sale support with our system design team. We have many integrators that have been taking advantage of this, just like yourselves, for projects from residential to commercial AV to communications. We now offer enterprise connectivity We've been in intrusion, automation, life safety, video surveillance, access control for many, many years. So a lot of dealers tap into that service when they need it. They can help you with the bill of materials, give you some direction, some suggestions on what products to use. And it's a team of technology specialists. Many of them came from the field prior to joining that team, and they're here to help. I think it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. And you can get their contact information off of our website. Or you could also send an email to adisys1@adiglobal.com or sysican@adiglobal.com in Canada. So